Ho ho ho, everybody. I hope all of you are having a nice holiday week, spending time with family, watching Christmas movies, opening presents, whatever the case may be. I hope you're all enjoying it. Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year, and I thought it'd be nice to tell you a story. A story of a man that was once respected by everybody. A man that has changed the game many times in the comic book industry. A guy that had a downfall so bad that it would make Boogie to 988 jealous. So, grab yourself some hot cocoa and some gingerbread and let me tell you a story of the man known as Joe Quesada. Once upon a time, in the great city of New York, in the Jackson Heights neighborhood of Queens, lived a small little boy named Joseph Quesada. He lived close by the Shea Stadium where his father worked at. One night, his father arrives with a newspaper on his hand. He opens the newspaper and he sees that there's a story talking about comic books tackling drug addiction. Joe was very curious on what that story was, and it turned out to be Amazing Spider-Man. Joe would try to convince his dad to buy him the book.
Hey Dad, can we go buy this comic?
Oh, I don't know, son. It says here that it talks about drugs, so I don't think this is meant for kids.
Oh Dad, but it teaches you not to do drugs, so it's totally fine.
Oh, very well, son. Tomorrow we will go and pick this comic up.
Hooray!
The next day, they would go to their local candy store where they sold comic books. Joe picked up the issue, which was Amazing Spider-Man issue 98, the infamous anti-drug storyline. Joe would open the book and would be mesmerized by all of the art. And right there, it was love at first sight. Love of comics, his love of the character of Spider-Man, and his love for art.
Oh boy, I hope I get to work on this character someday.
Years later, he would graduate in the School of Visual Arts, where he majored in illustration. And although he has a love for comic books, he did not pursue it as a career. He thought of it as child's medium. But that all changed when he read Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller.
Oh, holy crap. Maybe I should, pursue comic books for a career or something.
And so he did. He would apply at DC Comics and would get hired to work on characters like The Ray and Batman. And he would also be known for co-creating the character Azrael. Later on, he would work at Valiant Comics and other companies after that. He would then start his own publishing company where he would have some editorial experience. He would co-create the character Ash, who is a firefighter superhero. And then the big opportunity came when Marvel Comics hired him. Joe would pitch them the idea of a new imprint where he would have famous writers writing grounded stories for their famous characters. Writers like Kevin Smith, Garth Ennis, Brian Michael Bendis, and that run would be called Marvel Knights. The success of Marvel Knights led Joe to pitch another idea to Marvel, one that would be adult-oriented called Marvel Max.
Alright guys, I think we should make a new imprint where we show violence and gore and titties. Man, that will be called Marvel Max and it will be mainly for adults only. Yeah, this is gonna make some money.
That sounds like a great idea, Joe. And so Marvel published it and it became a success. And Joe's powers grew stronger and stronger. And then it led him to another idea, one that will revamp the Marvel universe as a whole.
Alright guys, what if we take these characters and put them in modern day?
Joe, that sounds like a great idea. As a matter of fact, what if we have you be editor-in-chief now?
Oh my god, thank you so much, guys.
And so, Marvel would publish the Ultimate Universe, which would have all of these characters taking place in modern day. Starting with Ultimate Spider-Man, which would become a huge success. And then later on came Ultimate Fantastic Four, Ultimate X-Men, and the Ultimates. And they were a big success. And Joe's power grew stronger, taking over the editor-in-chief position. But that wasn't all Joe had in mind. He had so many ideas that would change the Marvel Universe forever. Years pass and the Ultimate Universe is still a success, but Joe wanted more. He wanted to take on the 616 universe. But there was just one problem. His favorite character, Spider-Man, has been married for a long time, and Joe thought that it was a terrible idea for him to be married all these years. And so, he did the unthinkable, but in order to make it convincing, he had to make a few things to make it happen. He hired Mark Miller to work on a story that would divide the Marvel Universe called civil war. But there was one specific thing that Joe wanted Mark to do. All right, Mark, I need you to do it. I need you to reveal Peter Parker's identity to the world. And so he did. Peter Parker would reveal his identity to the entire world, putting his family at risk. And this would lead to the Kingpin hiring an assassin to kill Peter Parker. But unfortunately, Aunt May was caught in the crossfire and got shot. This would then lead to Joe having a conversation with J. Michael Straczynski, where they would discuss what would happen. All right, Jay, I need you to do something for me. I need you to break up Peter and MJ's marriage. But sir, you just had me separate them for a while in my run, and then I brought them back together, and now you want me to separate them again? Yes, I want you to do it. But sir, the fans would be upset. I don't care. Do it now. Jay was pissed at the idea, and so he left halfway through one more day. So Joe had to do it all himself. Very well, I will do it myself. Joe would write a situation where Peter would have to go to Mephisto to make a deal with him to save Aunt May's life. But in order to do that, he had to sacrifice his marriage. And he does it. Aunt May gets saved, but at the cost of losing his marriage, retconning everything that happened through the years since his wedding day. And right there, the Joe Quesada that we knew had died. He was no longer respected from comic book fans. He would also get booed on stage at a Comic-Con, but he didn't care. All he cared about was power, and he got what he wanted. Years have passed and Peter and MJ are still separated. Many writers have attempted to bring them back together and retcon one more day, but Joe kept an eye on them. He made sure that they would not succeed. Years later, he would start leaving Marvel Comics. But even though he left, his legacy still lives on through other editors that would continue his work. And that is the story of Joe Quesada, the man who killed Spider-Man. Whew, that was an interesting story. What did we learn today, kids? You should never, ever ruin a character that people love. And also, don't be a fucking bitch. But anyway, that is all for today. I hope all of you have a happy holiday. And as always, let's hug it out.